The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Free Kicks. So, Adam, you know, we have a new tradition here, even though we're heading into this, by the way, our first show of 2025. Welcome to the new year.
Yes, you too.
The idea is I want to play in walk-in music or walk-out music, however you want to call it, from some of the Premier League teams as they walk onto the field. This is the song that accompanies them. You have to identify which team it is. I'll tell you the name of the song. All right, it's called Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes. Let's listen to a little bit of it. Here we go. There's a little 30-second clip. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say this because, you know, we're in the NFL playoffs. I think the Buffalo Bills have used it.
Oh, do they really? Okay.
Yeah, I think they do. As for Premier League teams, I'm not sure. It's because it's been. I heard it in the World Cup a few World Cups ago.
Well, every week when they walk onto the pitch, you will hear that song in Bournemouth.
Really?
That's their tune. It's a White Stripes, Seven Nation Army. All right.
There are 11,000 fans that are crammed in. Exactly.
That's right. They're all jamming to that tune. It's time for us to jam to some free kicks.
Now, Free Kicks. Free Kicks with Illinois Youth Soccer Association's Director of Coaching, Adam Howarth, and Rick Kemper.
And now our theme song sounds kind of lame after that cool song. That is a great song, by the way, by White Stripes.
Absolutely.
All right, so we haven't been on for a while. We took the holidays off, and a lot of stuff has happened. Why don't we go over some of the news before we get into the standings and, you know, how teams are playing and everything. We've had a couple of sackings since we last spoke, and this one is one of my favorite stories. Sean Dyche, I always liked him. Sacked by Everton. And now they've got these American owners. They got rid of him. And who do they bring back? It's Old Town Week. They brought back David Moyes.
That's right.
Now, he has been their coach before. Yes,
he was there from, I think, early 2000s to around about 2013. Did exceptionally well. You know, I think really was kind of a steadying ship. They finished in the top 8 a bunch of times and got to a cup final. Very consistent. And I think that's what they want now. I mean, I think they're just looking for a little bit more consistency. And that's not to take anything away from Sean Dyche because he kept them up last year. Yeah. So that was a monumental. But the key for them is they've got the new stadium. And they're going to be moving into that. They don't want to move into that stadium playing in the championship. So that's the biggest thing. They've got to make sure they stay in the league, and I think David Moyes can do it. They've got good enough players to do it. No problem.
They do. And just to give you an idea of how long it's been since David Moyes was on the sidelines there, when he left in 2013, it was the year that Man United won their 13th and final Premier League title under Sir Alex Ferguson.
There you go.
Robin Van Persie won the Golden Boot that year with 26 goals ahead of Luis Suarez and Gareth Bale.
Wow.
Mikel Arteta was the heart of Arsenal's midfield under Arsene Wenger.
It's funny, yeah.
Bournemouth and Brentford were in League One.
Wow.
In 2013. So it's it was a long time ago. But as you mentioned, David Moyes, he does well wherever he goes.
He does. He did a great job with West Ham.
He did.
And I think the West Ham fans probably now appreciate him more since he's left.
Yeah.
And obviously things had to change for West Ham. So there you go. Good lead-in. I think that's called a lead-in. Is that something that we do?
No, it's a segue. We call it a segue.
Oh, there you go, segue.
Because that's the other sacking that happened. West Ham fired their manager. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, it was going to happen. Julian Lopetegui, the history behind him was obviously at Wolverhampton Wanderers, didn't like what was happening, left. I think he is probably a manager that thinks he's probably a little bit better than what he thinks he is, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
But
a little full of himself is what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, he's with the Spanish national team, with Real Madrid. Obviously, he's got some credentials, but just hasn't got anything done, really hasn't improved anybody. And that led to a very short spell. I mean, a very short spell. At the start of the season is when he was given the job, and now he's already out.
Right. And look who's back.
Yes.
It's not not a West Ham man, but Graham Potter has been with, this is his third club now, right?
That's right. Yep. So Brighton to Chelsea, and now obviously at West Ham. I think he's a perfect fit for them. The West Ham fans, they want to play the West Ham way, and they want to have attractive football, a lot in the midst of kind of how Tottenham kind of thinks as well. But they weren't doing that with Lopetegui. They will definitely do it with Graham Potter. So I'm excited for West Ham fans to appreciate some good football. And they got off to a decent start over the weekend, too. So actually, this past week, should I say.
Right. Yeah, as we're taping this on Wednesday, and there are lots of midweek games this week.
That's right.
So we'll talk about that in a second here. One of the teams playing this week is Arsenal. In fact, they're playing today, later as we tape this. They got some bad news this week also, and that's Jesus.
Yes.
He's got an ACL. That's not good.
Not good for them at all. And I think with him being out, obviously he's a proven goal scorer. Now they're going to have to lean on some other players, which may lead to them having to dip into the transfer market. As to what players they bring in, that's the big question. Kai Havertz, I think a lot of the Arsenal fans are getting frustrated with him. He's a bit like Nicholas Jackson for Chelsea. He does miss a lot. He probably misses more than he scores.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the Arsenal fans are getting a little bit frustrated. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see some player come in for Arsenal in the transfer window.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that, because that breeze you feel is the window being opened.
Mm-hmm.
The transfer window opened throughout the entire month of January. And every team has got a chance to bring in whoever they want, but so far, not much is happening.
No, not really. I mean, I think you're just seeing a lot of teams just kind of vying for positions. They're bringing in maybe some $15 to $20 million players, nothing of major significance. Aston Villa signed a player I don't know too much about, Daniel Marlin from Borussia Dortmund. He played for the Netherlands. He's from the Netherlands, so they brought him in for about $20 million. So nothing crazy yet. A lot of the lower leagues are working on their teams. It looks like Dortmund are very keen to sign Chelsea's Raymond Vega, so he might be going. But in an interesting, this happened today, actually, and obviously it involves my team, Chelsea. Trevor Chalobah got pulled back from Crystal Palace because he was on loan there. So Chelsea's pulled him back. Maybe that's partly because of some of the defender woes that Chelsea are dealing with. Fofana's out injured for a while, a couple of others. So you may see some teams bringing back players that have been on loan, so that might be part of it. And then the Arsenal one, there's a lot of talk about who they might bring in for a striker. I've heard Isaac from Newcastle. I've heard Delap from Ipswich. Osimhen, who's playing, I believe, in Saudi Arabia. So those are players that could potentially come in. So this can be an interesting month.
Wow. I'd be surprised if Newcastle let their guy go. But you never know. I mean...
No. Exactly. It's going to cost them. It's going to cost them.
Yeah.
There's no question. It's going to be $100 million plus.
Oh my God.
No question. If that's what they want to pay, if they want a striker, I mean, he's he's probably the premier number 9. Delap's had a good season so far as well.
He's looked pretty good, actually.
Yeah. I would even rate him as kind of a younger, he's obviously English, kind of like a Harry Kane type of player. He could certainly mold into that type of a player. So I would, if Ipswich go down, he's going to go somewhere. That's for sure. But he might be making that move halfway through the season. We'll see.
Okay. Well, here as we stand now, we're officially done with more than half of the season. Yep. Right. So let's take a look after the festive fixtures where the standings are. Now, this is going to change a little bit by the time this show drops because there's a bunch of games going on today. But as we sit here today, after 21 games or so, Liverpool at the top with 47 points. And here's the one that is just kind of a glaring red light, a red and white light, if you like. Nottingham Forest, as we record this today, has 41 points and sits in second place.
Amazing. I mean, when you look at them from a form guide, they are, along with Newcastle, the most informed team. They haven't lost in their last 6 games, and they just drew with Liverpool after being up 1-0 for a majority of the game.
Yeah, in fact, I thought they should have won that game. I watched that whole game. I saw an interview with Nino after the game, and he's like, "Boy, those last 7 minutes." Because when Liverpool smells that they got to score a goal, I mean, there's no team scarier coming at you with their offense.
Exactly. The substitutes that they brought in made a big difference. Jota scored the tying goal. And then, like you said, for the last 7 minutes, it was like a battering ram of Liverpool players just going towards the goal. But, I think you have to put Nottingham Forest in that group now of legitimate contenders. I would definitely not say that they're going to win the league, but it's looking really good for them right now for being even in the Champions League. And ironically, I think I saw this yesterday, they've got more points now than they did last season, the whole of last season. So we're only a little bit over halfway. It's crazy. What a season.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, I suspect by the time we reconvene, Arsenal will be in second because they're only a point behind, and they're playing today. Chelsea is in fourth right now with 37 points.
Yep.
Newcastle and Man City both at 35. Man City seems to have turned it around a little bit, as we knew they would. I guess there aren't too many surprises other than Nottingham Forest there, but Bournemouth, Villa, Fulham, they're all still in the hunt. And that's where we sit after half of the season. I think there aren't any major surprises there other than Man City, which we've talked about ad nauseum.
Exactly, at the top part. It's at the bottom part. It's when you look at teams like Manchester United in 14th, Tottenham in 13th. Yep. Those are the surprising parts. I mean, they're starting to move in a little bit of an upward momentum. Man United had a big FA Cup win, but ultimately, they've got to do their best to move up to the league. And it's still the bottom 3 of Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton. That's going to be the struggle for them. Yeah,
it's not looking good for those 3 teams, I must say. And Tottenham just beat Liverpool in the Carabao Cup.
That's right. That's 2 legs, so they've got another leg to play. So, but they've got it there halfway through. Unfortunately, with Tottenham, they've been pretty consistent about having a lead and then losing it.
Right. That's true.
So let's hope that that doesn't happen. But for Tottenham fans, it'd be great for them to win a trophy. I don't think they've ever won one, so that would be nice. Oh, sorry. I think they have won a few years ago.
Yeah.
I'll be happy for the Tottenham fans because they've been getting a lot of grief for not winning any trophies. So hopefully they can get to a final at least.
Well, I will not be happy because I'm rooting for Liverpool.
That's true.
But anyway. All right. So not only has there been Carabao Cup games, there's also the FA Cup, which last weekend was the FA Cup. I really enjoy watching those games. They did a draw for the 4th round. The 4th round draw came this week. What are your thoughts about some of those matches on the roster?
Yeah, so it's some really interesting ones. I think you've got quite a few Premier League matchups, which is always a good thing. So that allows some of those lower level teams to maybe squeak through. So the ones that stand out for me, when I look at it, is a team like Preston versus Wickham. That's two lower level teams that could potentially go through. You've got also Plymouth Argyle, who are basically at the bottom of the championship. They're now playing Liverpool. They just sacked their manager. You may have heard of him, Wayne Rooney. Yeah. And automatically they won their game in the FA Cup. It's crazy. And then you've got Leyton Orient against Manchester City. I think it's going to be a one. And then Doncaster Rovers in League Two, they're playing Crystal Palace. So there's some games that have got some ripe upsets. Like Doncaster Rovers is at home, so that's going to be a really good atmosphere. Exeter versus Nottingham Forest, that's going to be another good one. So, yeah, there's so many good games that I love watching the FA Cup.
Yeah, I do too. And I love watching the teams that you're kind of describing here. There are some, as you mentioned, there are some matchups of Premier League teams like Brighton against Chelsea, Villa against Tottenham, Manchester United against Leicester City. But those are big whoop. You can see those every week at the Premier League level. These other ones are the fun ones.
Now, the only thing I would say from the previous round, and I thought they were extremely unlucky, was Tamworth. I don't know if you saw the Tamworth-Tottenham game.
No.
So Tamworth is basically in the Division 6, right? So they're two levels below. Their center midfielder is a plumber. Their manager is a teacher. Their center forward is an electrician. So, again, part-time jobs. They took Tottenham to 90 minutes, so it had to go to extra time before Tottenham was able to beat them. So that was a tough one. And I feel bad because now this year there's no replays, so they just play extra time after the game and then go straight to penalty kicks. So that was a tough one. What I would like to see, which would be kind of exciting, just in the FA Cup, would be sudden death in the extra time. That would be kind of interesting, especially in the lower level, especially with Tamworth. If Tamworth would have scored and then the game's over, that would be crazy. But congrats to them. What a great run. Made a little bit of money for the club, so that was good.
All right. Free Kicks is brought to you by the Illinois Youth Soccer Association.
Illinois Youth Soccer has been proudly serving the Illinois soccer community since 1975 and celebrating our 50 years this year. Illinois Youth Soccer is one of Illinois' largest youth sports organizations with approximately 95,000 players, coaches, and referees. Illinois Youth Soccer is a nonprofit corporation, administers U.S. Soccer Federation coaching programs, the Olympic Development Program, and U.S. Soccer Federation referee programs. For more information, go to illinoisyouthsoccer.org.
Okay, and I believe there's some more news.
Yes.
And now the latest Chicago area soccer news. Soccer news with Coach Adam.
Had to wait for the jingle. All right.
Got to do it. So, yeah, it's been a busy start of the year for Illinois Youth Soccer. So we started literally January the 2nd. We flew out to Arizona. We took 16 Olympic developmental teams to play in what was called the Far West Championship. So 22 states were there. We did tremendously well. We ended up with 2 championships. I think we ended up having 5 or 6 teams in semifinals. One team lost in the final, but congrats to the 2009 boys and the 2011 girls for champions of the Far West ODP Championship. So that was great. And I think for a lot of the teams that all came away, most of those had winning records or they just didn't get out of their bracket, but they won 2, lost 1. So it was really, really good. Weather was great. And the other thing that's really, I think, to give the credit to the players, remember we're playing Far West. So these are teams, California, areas that pretty much are playing outside all year round. So a lot of these kids hadn't played outside for a little bit. So give them a lot of credit for that. So that was really good. And then last week, we was busy with the National Soccer Coaches Convention through United Soccer Coaches. So I was able to do a presentation along with myself and My associate did a presentation on penalty kicks. I did one on how I've become a better coach because I'm a coach educator. Plus lots of other people, Emma Hayes. We had Matt Crocker from US Soccer. Lots of other different presentations there, which was really, really good. Greg Berhalter was there, our new Chicago Fire coach, did a presentation as well. So we're excited about what's happening, the future of soccer here in Chicago, especially with the new coach with the Fire, see how things, and we know one of the players that just recently got drafted in.
Yeah.
So we're excited about seeing him on the field too. So I think that's going to bring a lot of local people back to Chicago Fire games for sure.
Well, I think, I wasn't a huge fan of his as the coach of the national team, but I think he's a great hire for the Chicago Fire.
I agree. Totally agree. I think he'll do a fantastic job. Obviously, there was a lot of drama around what happened that second time around when he got reinstated as the coach. But I think fresh start, brand new. Let's see what we got.
All right. Sounds good. All right. It's time for another feature.
Time now to guess the Premier League star.
Okay. So I am going to tell you that I think for sure that this guy is a star. Okay.
Okay, good. It's good to hear.
Although I had never heard of him until this year. So.
Oh, that's just brilliant.
But that's just because I'm an ignoramus. It's not because he's not a star. He is 22 years old. He's also very young. And the other reason I don't know him as well is because he plays center back, which, I know you are a center back fanatic, but I usually watch the guys on offense. So he's one of the 20 center or one of the 40 center backs in the league, right? And he plays every game. He starts, but he's pretty young for a job like that. He's not from England. And he's also not from Europe or North America or Asia or Africa or Antarctica or Australia.
Where the heck is he from? You've gone through every continent.
South America. South America.
Okay, you didn't mention that. So he's South American.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And this is his first Premier League team. He previously played for only one other team, and that was in his home country.
Okay.
That country shares a name with a Terry Gilliam-directed film from 1985.
So that
You love those clues.
I love those clues. Well, isn't that Monty Python type of?
Yes,
that Monty Python?
Monty Python. Terry Gilliam was Monty Python, but he became a director, and he directed a film in 1985. It was highly acclaimed, and that film is not called Argentina. It is not called Peru. It is not called Colombia. It is not called Ecuador. It is called Brazil.
Maybe Brazil. Okay, so he's a Brazilian center back.
Yes.
Playing on a team that's probably, I would guess, top 4, would you say?
Oh, look at you. Yes.
Okay. So top 4, would they be a team that plays in red and white?
They would be.
All right. So they're potentially plays for, does he play for Arsenal?
He does not.
Doesn't play for Arsenal, but they're in the top 4, so that must mean he plays for the second best team in the league right now, which has to be Nottingham Forest.
That is correct.
And he's playing there for Nottingham Forest, 22, and has to be our good player who's doing fantastic well. It's got to be... Is he Brazilian, though? I thought he wasn't Brazilian. Okay, so is that Murillo?
It is.
Centre back?
It is.
Okay, interesting.
Number 5, Murillo.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I don't even know what his first name is. He just goes by Murillo.
Yeah,
I guess he is Murillo. Yeah.
That's what the Brazilians all do that. They usually go by
I know.
name. Yeah.
That's like me, how Athenio is what I go by. So, yeah, it's one of those
really?
things.
Did not know that about you.
Yeah.
I know you play the beautiful game, but I had no idea.
Right. Yeah, that's what they said.
All right. Well, that's it. That's our Guess the Premier League star. Now it's time for another feature.
Now time for Adam's Weekend Soccer TV Tip.
Okay, so what do we got going on? We've been kind of spoiled. Lots and lots of games lately.
I know, we played so many games, watched so many games, and I have vowed that I will never watch a Chelsea game with you ever again. So that's one thing. So every time we sit to watch together, they lose.
You know what my favorite part of watching that game was? So we should tell the listeners, I was over at your house for Boxing Day, and Chelsea lost to Fulham. Yeah, and they were leading the whole game, and then Fulham came back and won it at the end, right?
Exactly. That's what's happened pretty much the last 5 games. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And your in-laws were there in the room. And, I don't know if people know this about Adam, but he gets pretty competitive when he's watching his boys in blue. And you let out a string of expletives when it went haywire, and I saw your mother-in-law lift her head up and go, what was that? What is that?
Yeah, luckily she wears hearing aids, so I think I might have gotten away with it, but the shut the front door was probably the big one. So
God, that was great. It was so fun. I mean, I feel bad. My son also is a Chelsea fan, and he was there, and he was yelling at me the whole way home, saying what a terrible jinx I am. And
exactly right.
Happy to do that for you guys.
No problem at all. But anyway, back to the game.
Yes,
we've got some good ones. Saturday, I think this is going to be a good one. Our Lone Villa listener is going to be happy. Hopefully they can start moving up. So hopefully Todd will get happy with a big win over Arsenal. So that's the big one to watch on Saturday. Aston Villa at Arsenal at the Emirates. I think will be a good game. 11:30. I think that's going to be a really good one. And then I would actually even put another one in for Sunday. It's an early game. But I think this could have a big part to play. If Everton win this and Spurs lose this, I would be really curious as to the future of Ange Postecoglou, because he's been very inconsistent.
Yeah.
People aren't very happy with what's going on. They just barely beat Tamworth. Right. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen again?
I think inconsistent is fair. Barely beat Tamworth and then do beat Liverpool.
I know. Exactly. So you never know with them. It's a bit up and down. I mean, that's what the Spurs fans have been used to. But I hope that Spurs do get a result out of this, but I also want Everton to push up the table too. So maybe a draw might be the perfect result.
Yeah.
But those are 2 games, Saturday, Sunday. And then we also do have another game on Monday. A little team called Chelsea plays Wolves. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay. All right. Well, those are some good tips. Free Kicks is brought to you by the Green White Soccer Club, which, by the way, you mentioned our one Villa listener, Todd Schneider. He is going to be playing in a tournament with Green White. The over 50s are in Vegas.
Right. Coming up. Yeah.
Yeah. They always play the weekend of Martin Luther King. They call it the King Cup. So if you want to go see some Green White games, go to Vegas. Hey, honey, I'm going to go watch a football match. Really? Where? Vegas.
Of course.
Yes. So go to greenwhitesoccer.org if you want to follow our little club here in Chicago. All right. We have people to thank. We need to thank our executive producer, Tony Lasano, with Opie Shows. Opie is hippo spelled backwards. Also, we have Ed Silla with the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Thanks to Ed for distributing this little program. And we'll be back again next week. Are we back next week?
Of course we are, yes.
Okay. We'll be back next week with another episode of Free Kicks.
The proceeding was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at RadioMisfits.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?